Hello and welcome to Inderes TV. Nordea published its Q4 results some time back, and now I'm in the studio with Kasper Mellas, analyst, to discuss this result. Hi Kasper.
Hi.
And welcome.
Thanks.
Nordea's Q4 result was stronger than we expected to some degree. What was the main reason behind this?
Well, in short, the main reason was loan losses. There were, of course, some variations compared to our estimates in each of the lines, but the only relevant line was the loan losses, which were lower than expected. But overall, one could say that the result was somewhat in line with the expectations. The cost guidance was pretty clear from the company's side, so there weren't any major surprises in the Q4.
Right. Yeah. So the big picture was relatively in line with expectations, and there was just this one item that sort of deviated.
Yeah,
more clearly.
There's some minor deviations on the other lines as well, but they the total was somewhere around zero.
Okay. So the company expects its ROE to exceed 15% this year. If you look at other banks, what's this level like compared to them?
Well, it's a good level. Of course, Nordea is the only large bank we're actually covering. So when we're looking at the consensus estimates, of course, the 15% level should stand out in a positive way from other Nordic banks, for example, and more clearly from European banks. So that level is very good. Of course, that's a target, and I'm a bit more careful with my own estimates compared to that, but overall, I'd expect the return on equity to be around 15%. If the company cannot exceed that, I don't see that a major problem. So the bank is in a good shape, and that should result in a very good profitability. Is it 14.55% or 15%? I don't see that a big difference. But overall, the outlook is good.
Yeah, so somewhere around 15 is still a good level, even if it wouldn't exceed it, like the bank is saying.
Yeah, it's a very good level, and it's clear that it's above the required rate on capital. So bank is creating shareholder value at these profitability levels. It's for sure.
Good. The bank is also in an ongoing buyback program and distributes 65 to 70% of its profits as dividends. What's your view on this policy? Could the money be used better somewhere else, or is this a good approach?
When we think about the investment needs of a bank, there are two components. First of all, there has to be a capital buffer. So when the bank is growing, it requires more capital to meet the solvency regulation and requirements. So that is one part. Nordea is not a fast-growing bank. It's a huge Nordic bank. So the growth prospects in traditional banking are somewhat limited. So the investment needs from that is not very significant. The other component is all other kinds of investments. For example, IT infrastructure investments, but mostly the heavy lifting from Nordea's part is done, so there are no significant needs from that side as well. So overall, the profit distribution should in the long term be around 90-95% in total, and as the company has said, around 70% of that is via dividends, and the other part comes from buyback programs, which in the future should be somewhat regular, as company has stated.
Sure. Yeah, so for a big bank with stable business like Nordea, even if we sometimes hear there's been talk about and certain criticism towards Finnish companies paying large dividends, but at some point in certain companies it makes sense, because just boosting the cash is not what's that for?
Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense. Of course, the company could make acquisitions, for example, but in Nordics, might be some problems with antitrust laws, for etc. And I don't think that's a great priority. Of course, some minor add-on acquisitions might be we might see in the future, but in a big picture that's not very relevant. So the payout ratio should be quite high when adding up the dividends and the buybacks.
Yeah. Now going forward, interest rates are coming down, and it seems to be the trend now. How will this impact Nordea?
Negatively, of course. When the interest rates rose, it had a positive effect on the net interest income of Nordea and other banks. And now, of course, when the interest rates are going down, the effect is the opposite. There are some hedges that make the variations a bit smaller than would be without the hedges, but overall we have seen the top of the net interest rate income for Nordea. The company said that it expects the negative impact to be around 600 to 700 million from the margins alone, of course. If the lower interest rates will result in the loan demand picking up, of course that has some positive effect that balances the negative effect, but overall it has a negative impact on net interest income and of course Nordea's profit as well.
And then finally, the traditional, what's our valuation and recommendation at the moment?
Still very reasonable. At the time of this video, the share price has risen for some amount from the date that we published our latest report, but that doesn't change the recommendation. The recommendation accumulation is still valid, even though the share price has risen a bit. It's not a buy company at the moment, which is only a result of the share price increase. Overall, the valuation of Nordea is still quite attractive compared to the very good profitability of the company and the outlook as well. So yeah, I'd say that the valuation is still looking promising.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kasper.
Thanks.
So, Nordea, good profitability and a positive recommendation. You can find out more at our site on inderes.se right here.